Another gas mileage race? I can't believe it. The last 2 months, NASCAR's had way too many gas mileage races. Gas mileage finishes, they were running out of gas right and left toward the end of this one. Mike Mullen from MikeMullen.net, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and Ryan Newman, an emotional Ryan Newman. Wins, Tony Stewart, car owner and teammate, finishes second. Remember last fall here, Tony Stewart gambled on gas. First race of the chase, ran out, lost 100 points, lost any chance at the championship. But it's July, and he didn't have to worry about that. He could gamble this time. In fact, the way his season's gone, he needed to gamble, and so did Ryan. They need sponsorship, they need support, they need to snap out of the funk they've been in, and they did today. 1-2 in the New Hampshire 301. Emotional for Ryan. A friend of his died of cancer a few weeks ago. He'd been living in their home, and it was a traumatic experience for Ryan. He wore a bracelet on his wrist to remind him of that and took it to victory lane today. Gas mileage victory, and Ryan had a pretty good car, didn't have the best car in the field. That might have been Kyle Busch. But Kyle Busch, low right front tire, too much brake heat, running in the corners too hard, melted the bead, blew it into the wall, lost the championship lead. Well, you'll have that in big-time auto racing, but he wasn't the only one. Brad Keselowski, same problem. Wasn't a lot of action in the race, not like there is at most short track races in NASCAR, but they were beating and banging, that's for sure. 3 wide at times, and Tony Stewart looked pretty good. Ryan Newman looked pretty good. Jeff Gordon, once Kyle Busch went out, looked like he had the best car, but he had to try to conserve gas toward the end too. So did Kurt Busch, who had the second best car toward the end. Those guys lost. Gas mileage, we've got to do something about that. But the real story, Carl Edwards. What is going on with Carl Edwards? We've been hearing all the contract talks for the last couple of months. His contract with Jack Roush is up at the end of this season. He's tried to keep it quiet, both Jack and Carl. The story throughout the weekend at New Hampshire Motor Speedway was that Carl has signed with Joe Gibbs, or done a deal with some way fashion with Joe Gibbs. Not quite sure what. We tried to pin people down. Nobody wanted to talk. The word that I'm getting is that something happened in this last week. Jack says he hasn't heard anything. He doesn't know what's going on. Nobody else wants to say anything. Couldn't find J.D. Gibbs. Couldn't find Joe Gibbs. Couldn't find anybody that wanted to go on the record about this thing. But we're hearing that something went down. Me, I'm thinking Home Depot and Lowe's. Lowe's has won 5 straight championships. 5 straight championships with Jimmy Johnson. Home Depot, their last championship in NASCAR was with Tony Stewart when he was driving for Joe Gibbs back in 2005. I'm thinking that Home Depot may be telling the Gibbs, we want to win a championship. We want to beat Lowe's. We want to beat Jimmy Johnson. Whatever it takes, blank check. That's what I'm thinking. Don't have any confirmation. Don't really know what's going on. Nobody's talking. But Carl Edwards looks like he was a little different today, this weekend. Seemed a little depressed. Not quite sure if he's trying to figure out what the game plan is going to be for the rest of the season. Remember what happened when Kurt Busch decided to leave Jack Roush? Wasn't very pretty. Remember what happened when Jeff Burton decided to leave Jack Roush? Wasn't very pretty. But Carl Edwards is atop the point standings again, even though he only finished 13th today. Now he's going to have to answer some questions. I hope. They got a week off. Maybe they got the game plan straight. When we get to Indianapolis, we can find out what's going on. Mike Mullen from MikeMullen.net.